It's our reality, just your average family, trying to be normal and stay out of trouble, living a double life.
What's up? Today we got the Thundermans Season 3, Episode 25, the season finale, the Thundermans Secret Revealed, Part 1 and 2. So, yeah, we're finally done this season of the Thundermans, and next we are on to the final season of the show, and it's very sad. Just knowing that next season we'll be not saying goodbye to the characters, because we know we got a movie and we know we got a new sequel series, but saying goodbye to the characters as they were back then. But let's just see how this season ends. This episode starts off at Hinsville High Prom, where Phoebe tells the prom committee to take a break. Not in Napoleon's Ottoman. Phoebe just says, guys, the prom is in 2 days. All they have to do is not cause a $1 billion in damages to the art in the museum before then. Then Wolfgang drops a vase, and Max says Wolfgang did it, and Wolfgang says, mine Badson. Wolfgang says, oh hey, there's Allison, because Allison hasn't appeared since episode 19, so yeah, they have to resolve that before the season ends. Or not resolve, because we know that Allison has 2 more appearances next season before they completely write her off the show for good. So we have to do something with her character. Max tells his band to start setting up. There's some setting up there. There's something he's got to do before they rehearse. Phoebe says, Cherry, how is she getting reception inside the museum? Cherry says, she's not. She's laughing at a wallpaper of her cat. Phoebe says, Cherry, that's not a cat. And Phoebe says, then whose tummy has she been tickling the whole time? Tickling. Okay, I don't want to know. What has Cherry been tickling? I don't want to know, but still. Maddie, who makes her final appearance in this season finale, and so does Roxy, and they're never mentioned again, says that if she and Roxy are never mentioned again, I'm guessing that Maddie went on to do something else, and Roxy went on to be on K-Teen, because that's the only thing I know her actress from other than Power Rangers. So, and shows us what we're doing for that one episode, but Maddie says, come on, there's a reception outside, but Phoebe sees Lady Webb sneaking into the museum. Phoebe secretly changes into her super suit. Max talks to Allison and asks her to prom through a book. Allison says Max defaced our priceless artifacts. That's so romantic. Yeah, she'll go to prom with him. Prom's in 2 days. What took him so long? Max says until yesterday she was boycotting prom. Allison says that's because thousands of flowers died to make those corsages. But then she found the perfect dress. So Max says it's going to be a great night. As long as he go cancel the corsages. Then Phoebe chases after Lady Webb. Lady Webb blasts the chandelier, but Phoebe uses her telekinesis to stop it from hitting Oyster in the band. She frees Lady Webb, and Phoebe recovers the diamond and says the police will take it from here. Yay! We never see the police, and police actually don't do nothing in the show. The only police officer that we saw in this series, was a fake one that was promoting a hot dog business. But other than that, you're lying, Phoebe. We never see police in this show. Yeah. Gideon first says, he loves you. I mean, who are you? And Phoebe says, she's Thunder Girl. And Phoebe leaves. Max comes back and asks what's going on. Oyster says about how there was this random villain, and then she was gonna blast them until a mysterious superhero called Thunder Girl saved them. And Max says, Thunder Girl. And then Wolfgang says, with her telekinetic power. And Max is like, bro, that's the only word you can actually pronounce? Telekinesis. Then Then that's when Roxy, Maddie, and Phoebe showing up, asking what happened. Then Dark Mayhem, who hasn't appeared in the show for long episodes, is watching Thunder Girl's new news broadcast, saying Thunder Girl needs to be stopped, and he knows the person to do it. Her brother, Max. Mwah. And then he laughs with all the other villains. After the opening, that's it. There's no A plot, there's no B plot. These finales, except for season 1, do this whole thing where they just make an episode its own story. Phoebe comes home where Hank and Barb congratulate her for stopping a diamond robbery. Barb says, Max, did you hear Phoebe started stopped a diamond robbery? Max says, did you hear? I don't care. And then Phoebe says, she saved his bandmate. If it weren't for her, they'd be Max and the crushed skull. Max says, latest band name ever, but then tells Oyster to name the band. And that's the band the name goes by for the rest of the series. Max and the Crushed Skull. So, yeah. After 2 seasons of not being able to find a band name for their band, Max piggybacks off of Phoebe's name for them and just uses it as his own band name. Which is interesting. It took them 2 seasons to come up with this, guys. 2 seasons. Hank says now that Phoebe's a real superhero, is a real life superhero. He's gonna give her this. Phoebe says, "Wow, Hank, this is so awesome. Thank you. What is it?" And Hank says, "It's the original thunder signal." And the Hero League used to shine the T in the sky whenever they need to summon him. Phoebe says, "Thanks, Hank. Sure, this will come in handy when she doesn't have her cell phone or her tablet. It's also dark outside. She happens to be looking in the right direction." Phoebe leaves as Hank says, "It's symbolic." Billy says, now that Phoebe's a famous soup. Don't know why this is true. I put soup. A soup. Can he and Nora fight crime? Then Chloe teleports in her super suit saying, "Let's kick some bad guy butt." But then they're like, "No, you're too young." And they take Chloe away because, I don't know, she's not a main character yet until the next season. So they don't ever. Billy says, guesses they have to wait until the mid-30s like Phoebe and Max. Billy? Phoebe and Max are like 16, bro. Probably 17 by the next season. So, bro, you really think? Nora says, unless they take the Hero League aptitude test website on the Hero League website, ace it, and then prove to them that they have what it takes. Billy says, good idea. True or false? He's great, though. Is it a true or false test? He's great, though. Nora says she doesn't think so. Billy says true. Nora says this isn't a test. Billy says false. Nora says she's gonna zap him. Billy says false. Then Nora lasers him because they are really limiting on how many times Nora can use her lasers in this season. Billy says, okay, that was true. You know Max's later. Costa says he wore Max's tux. Evil prom with Octopus Girl. Nice person, a little handsy. And Max says no time for joke, Colosso. Phoebe's been crushing as a hero. As a superhero, I know he's been doing for months is writing in his chronicle, which we all know is a diary. And for what Colossus says, Max's and Colossus for what? Colossus says Max's penmanship in writing has improved, and he talks more freely about his feelings. Max says even Dark Mayhem knows he's going nowhere. It's like he's abandoned him. Why hasn't he called him? Then Dark Mayhem calls Max, asking how he'd like to become a full-fledged supervillain. Max says love to. So Dark Mayhem says, meet him tomorrow at the villain headquarters. he'll send Max to the coordinates. Max says, tomorrow, he's kind of busy with Allison. What about a week? Early next week? Dark Mayhem says, what about early next never? And Max is like, okay, he'll be there. And Dark Mayhem ends the call. Meanwhile, in Him the High, Cherry says, here comes Xander. He's gonna, because again, Cherry has not appeared in this show in a long time. Oh my, gee, I totally forgot that they just, I said at the start of the season, Cherry's gonna become a main, I told Cherry's gonna become a main character. Sorry, episode 2, me. I was totally wrong. They basically just sidelined Cherry until this episode. I didn't forget when the last time she appeared. I'm like, hopefully in season 4 she becomes the main character. I'll probably be wrong again. But episode 2, me said, I told you Cherry's gonna become a main character. And now I'm saying, I'm sorry to myself for saying that. Because literally, if Cherry was the main character, she would have been in every episode. But she's literally been absent since, I don't know, episode 20? She did appear in episode 21, but that was not a version, that wasn't her, that was a Phoebe retelling version of Cherry. And she did appear in the Halloween special, but that was another retelling version of Cherry. So, again, Cherry hasn't appeared in a very long time. Yeah. But, Xander, he asked her to prom, but all Xander asks for is his pencil, and Cherry tells him to pick her up at 8. So Phoebe gives him her pencil. Cherry says she keeps doing that. That's why Phoebe's so lucky she doesn't have to find a date. Phoebe says she knows. Going with Link. That just makes it sense even that makes sense, even though they're not a couple anymore. Yeah, remember Link? Because I don't. I do, but I just don't. He appeared in episode 10. That was his last appearance. That was his last appearance and this is his last appearance in the series. Yeah, I don't know why the writers were like, you know what? We don't need Link anymore. We'll have him get mentioned one time next season, but nope. This is his end of the line of appearances. They kind of just stopped doing stuff with him. He moved to Hong Kong, and the writers were probably thinking to themselves, what do we else do with him? He moved to Hong Kong and he and Phoebe are broken up. There's no more story left to tell with him, so he's just gone after this episode. His last scene in the entire series is in a prom photo. That's just sad. He appeared in episode 2, episode 12, and his first appearance was in Splatburger, and his final appearance is in a prom photo. At least the actor would go on to do better things, like appear in Cobra Kai as young John Kreese, like 2 times. Season 3 and season 5, I think. But anyway. He was in season 3. So, yeah. She wants them to have fun when then Link calls Phoebe to tell him that she's not coming because he's too busy in Hong Kong and that the Hero League won't let him take time off. But that's when Roxy and Manny show up and Phoebe says, since none of them are dates, why don't they go together? Cherry says, like a singles ladies dance. Roxy and Manny says they're in. Then they all do a single ladies dance. Allison asks Phoebe where Max is. First, he asks her to prom and then he disappears. Phoebe says, she'll tell Max to give Allison a call. Then Phoebe learns that Oyster, Gideon, and Wolfgang have started their own Thunder Girl fan club. Meanwhile, in Villain's headquarters, which is literally just a food restaurant, literally just a fast food place, Max meets with Dark Mayhem. Dark Mayhem introduces Max to his associate, the Fairy Princess and Strong Door. I feel like I would have liked the Fairy Princess as a villain if if the actress literally did not literally have a big hand, a prop for a hand. Max says, since when is the villain headquarters in a fast food restaurant? Dark Mayhem says, since Phoebe exposed her last Since Phoebe exposed her last headquarters, Strongor says are installed Diamond Heights, and Fairy Princess says she can't wait. They can't pay for a new hideout. She wants to pinch Phoebe so bad. And Dark Man says, is Max ready to finally help them and join the Villain League? Max says yes, to do anything. And Dark Man says, excellent. He wants Max to take Phoebe's powers. This is a world's first power-sapping orb. He wants Max to take Phoebe's powers. Max says, take her powers? Can't he just light an ocean on fire or something? And Dark Man says, no. He must take Phoebe's powers so they can be great again. That sounds like something Donald Trump would say. I never thought I'd mention Donald Trump in a Dark Thunderman's review, but Dark Mayhem literally says, so they can be great again. Literally sounds like something Donald Trump would say in making America great again. Weird. Why are Donald Trump and Dark Mayhem going similarities? Maybe because they're both evil villains? I don't know. But, he wants Max to take Phoebe's powers so they can be great again, unless Max prefers to be living Phoebe's shadow. Tell him when the deed is done. This leaves Max conflicted. Meanwhile, Billy and Nora are finishing the Hero League aptitude test. Billy says the hero test was easy. What did Nora get for the last circle of triangle? Nora says nitroglycerin? Nitroglycerin. Nora says she'll go get the answers. Billy says he hoped he did good. Being a superhero is all he's ever wanted. Nora says he probably did good. Then Nora sees Billy's test, and Billy entered triangle on every question. This is the moment I realized that Billy's not just dumb, he is stupid. I thought he was dumb. I thought that his entire character was just to be the dumb kid, but no, this kid is downright stupid. He's the Patrick Star of Thundermans. At least Patrick Star has redeeming qualities. Billy is just dumb. He's just stupid. That's his entire thing. He wrote triangle for everything. Billy says, how do you do? And Nora says he did great and passes off her test as Billy, making Billy think he got a 97 and thinking Nora got a 22. Billy says he's a hero mastermind, and Nora passed Billy's test off as her own, which got a 22. Nora says they should forget about the test, but Billy says no. Now he's a real superhero. To the park, and he speeds off. And Nora sees that Billy put triangle as his own name. That is not only dumb, that is stupid. I thought Billy was just a dumb character, but no, this episode has made me rethink Billy's entire character from season 1. He is just stupid. So Nora runs after Billy. Meanwhile, Phoebe comes down to talk to Max about calling Allison when she reads Max's chronicle about going to meet with Dark Mayhem. About him meeting with Dark Mayhem. Then she accidentally calls Dark Mayhem and learns about Max's plan to steal her power. Costa says, why does Max just steal Phoebe's power? Max says he doesn't know if he wants to. He and Phoebe aren't any mortal enemies. Phoebe then confronts Max over him going to steal her power, so they fail the orb. Then the orb takes Max's power. Max says, what did you do? And Phoebe says, sorry, she didn't do it, but she didn't mean to do it, but Max left her no choice and she leaves. Max says, he and Phoebe weren't mortal enemies before, but they are now. And he leaves. Cut to Hank and Barb being upset with him because I guess Phoebe told them off screen about him doing this. It makes no sense. It just doesn't. It goes from him being mad to him being sitting down about him and Barb. Well, they should have seen where Phoebe tells them. So it's the whole thing about, how could Max even think about going with Dark Mayhem? They are so disappointed in him. Dark Mayhem is Max working with Dark Mayhem. Dark Mayhem is one of the most powerful villains on the planet, just as X-Cold's sidekick. Oh wait, you can't. Dark Mayhem shot him into space so he could be on the same mood with that orca Tom Cruise from South Park. They both died too, but still. Barb says Max was going to take these powers and hand them over to him. Max says he was only thinking about taking these powers. She actually took his, and now she's going to pay. Hank says, no, the only one paying is Max. Hank says, Barb says not only does he not have his powers, but they're taking away Colosso. Okay, I thought about this, and I'm like, one, why would you even give him Max? If you want their whole plot, they said they literally said previously in Winter Thunderland, that they wanted to keep Max away from the supervillains. So, why'd you give him a supervillain for a pet? That's just bad parenting. I don't know. I guess we'll never know how Max got Colosso as a pet. But literally before, they literally stated how they wanted to keep Max away from the... Moving to him, they would keep Max away from the supervillains. But they literally gave him a supervillain as a pet. That's just terrible parenting. I never realized that until now. Hank says he's staying in his room until... Hank says Colosso is staying in their room until Coyote season. Barb says no prom, no girlfriend, and about his lair. Cut to it being a lair full of family photos and family stuff, which Max screams no to. Meanwhile, Phoebe and the prom committee are saying what they should do for prom. When Phoebe discovers Mrs. Wong is a part of the Thunderman fan club, Mrs. Wong says, of course! Of course, Thunder Girl is great and awesome, like Phoebe, but opposite. I just love doing that voice. I don't know how I can still perfect the Mrs. Long voice. I don't know how I can still get this voice. It's just so great. Don't know how I can do it. Mrs. Wong is just so greatly voiced. Phoebe tells the girls, Phoebe tells the girls that she'll text them later and forgot her bag. But this is when Phoebe sees Link. And he hands her bag. Phoebe's like, Link, what are you doing here? It says, I put bag, but that says badge. I don't know why it says that. Link says, really? Link says he's here to take her to prom. Phoebe says, really? Because he said he couldn't, and now he's here. And Link says, he felt bad for bailing on her. So he told the Hero League he didn't care if they fire him. He's gonna spend one special night with his special girl, Phoebe. So what does she say? Of course, Phoebe says yes, and obviously this is morally wrong because Phoebe made a pact with her friend, but as soon as Link shows up, she immediately breaks that pact to start being with him. Of course. Phoebe says, how could she say no to that? And then, Mrs. Phoebe, for some reason, has her super suit in her bag, which Mrs. Wong sees, and comes to the conclusion that Phoebe is Thunder Girl. But my problem with this is, why? Why would Phoebe do this? She obviously knew that someone would obviously figure it out, so why would she keep it in her bag? Like, girl, that's the most dumbest thing you've ever done. I guess also could be to when I also was mad another time in this scene in this restaurant when Barb and Nora used their powers in public. But this is just dumb. Phoebe having her super suit in her bag, which Mrs. Wong sees, and of course, Mrs. Wong, being Mrs. Wong, decides to expose Phoebe so she can be famous. Besides, be like, if she exposes her, she'll be famous. Time to get the paparazzi. But it's just like, Phoebe, why would you do that? So Mrs. Wong now has a mission to expose Phoebe's secret and become famous. Meanwhile in the park, Billy's being a hero mastermind, which is like, no he's not. And he's able to spot crime. Billy says he's being a hero mastermind that's able to spot crime that no one else can. Nora says, Billy says there's a man stealing a woman's ring. Nora says that's not a thief, but she sees a real thief being a purse snatcher while Billy's going after the man stealing the woman's ring. Nora lasers the purse snatcher, but makes Billy think he stopped him. Billy says, what about the ring stealing man? And Nora says, Billy made them fall in love. And Billy says, criminals of Himville fear him. And Nora says, she knows she does. Meanwhile, Mrs. Wong is in the Thurman's bush taking pictures of the superhero portrait, saying, that's all the proof she needs. Meanwhile, so now literally she has a picture of the Thunderman's secret. Meanwhile, Max is trying to get out of his lair. He tries to go to where his TNT is stashed, but only discovers it's being replaced by a stuffed bear who Barry loves him. Then a wall explodes. A wall explosion goes off, and Colosso reveals himself and gives Max the orb back. Colosso says, how'd Colosso get that? And Colosso says he lives with Hank. And he saw him put the code in for it, and he saw other things that he doesn't want to talk about. Max says he can use the orb to get revenge on Phoebe and take her power. Colosso says, right after Max uses it to get his own powers back. Max says he can't. He needs some sort of computer chip to override the systems, and where is he going to find that? Then he realizes the stuffed bear has a computer chip. Meanwhile, in Himville High, Allison asks Phoebe, where's Max? Where's Max? Because prom is tonight, and she hasn't been able to reach him in 2 days. Phoebe says, Allison, Max won't be going to prom tonight. Allison says, what? And Phoebe says, there's a lot of drama going on at home and right now, but she can probably find another date. It'll probably be last minute. But then Allison says, one of them is taking her to junior prom. Whoever is interested in meeting her in the quad. And all the boys follow her. Then Oyster, Giddy, and Wolfgang are asking Cherry, Maddie, and Roxy to junior prom. Cherry says, look, they are cute and they like them. Yet later reveal that they actually, all three of the girls like them, and I know that Oyster and Cherry actually go on to become boyfriend and girlfriend, which is kind of weird that Cherry literally just liked that Oscar guy a minute ago, and then now she just likes Oyster out of the blue, and then later goes on to go get into a relationship with him. At least Cherry gets a relationship. Yeah, it couldn't be more perfect. Roxy says, but tonight they're all about them. Single ladies. Phoebe says, maybe they should go to junior prom. Maybe they should go to junior prom with the guys. She wouldn't mind. And Mary says, they made a prom pact. What kind of friends would they be if they broke it? Phoebe's that kind of friend because she broke it. Cherry says, yeah, they'd be cold-hearted, good-for-nothing, scheming backstabbers. Phoebe is all four of those right now. Actually, no, all three of those, or four. Phoebe says, good, none of them are good, none of them are those things. Phoebe fakes a bell ringing till the actual bell ring. He says, now they're late for class. Meanwhile, at the Thunder House, Billy says, that's how you keep witches from poisoning birds. But of course, it's just their neighbor, and Nora gives back her breadcrumbs. See, Billy is dumb. He's an idiot. Barb says, there they are. They're making lunch. Hank says, veggie burgers. They're delicious. Max shows up in his supervillain outfit, saying he'll take his to go. Barb says, how did Max get out of his lair? And Max says, he made a few tweaks to the orb and got his powers back. Hank says, Max, put that orb down, it's dangerous. And Max says, only when in the wrong hands, Hank, only in the wrong hands, like his. And he uses the orb to steal all of his family's power. Max says, sorry, he has a sister to destroy. And Chloe says, what did she do? And Max says, not you, Phoebe. That was a good one. Make sure they don't follow him. He freezes the house frozen solid. Hank says, if Max goes down this path, he's no longer their son. And Hank says, exactly. He's a supervillain now. As he leaves and freezes the door. Ending part outside door and leaves. Ending part 1. In part 2, I'm not going to go over the intro again. In part 2, after junior prom, Oyster tells everyone that their official name is Max and the Crushed Skulls. I'm surprised Phoebe did not make a joke about her literally coining that name. And starts playing. Phoebe and the single ladies show up, which I'm just going to call them that because I'm not going to call them Maddie, Roxy, and Cherry. Phoebe and her single ladies show up. And they take a single ladies prom fee. Phoebe asks them if they want some punch. Then she sees Link over there, so she decides to say they should dance. Roxy says, I thought she said Phoebe wanted some punch. Phoebe said she did. She wanted to punch the dance floor in the mouth with her feet. Okay, that got me an I'm the band, I want to punch stuff reference. So, I want to punch stuff. I want to punch, wham, boom, blam, kick. That just made me remind me of that. Phoebe wants to punch though. Phoebe says, yeah. So they go, but Phoebe tells them to start. As they go, Phoebe tells them to start out without her. She gotta go stretch her hammy. Phoebe actually goes to talk to Link, and Link says, oh, there she is. And Phoebe says, he gives her a corsage. Phoebe asks Link if he wants to dance, and Phoebe says, whoa, a dance? At a dance? That was so predictable. How about they take some pictures taken? He then go get him a spot in line. She gotta go powder her hammies. Link says, I don't think you know what hammies are. Phoebe says, he told her not to look. She told him not to look. No looking back at her shine. Phoebe goes back to her single ladies, and Cherry asks Phoebe where she got her corsage. Phoebe gets out of this question by starting a conga line. Meanwhile, at the Frozen Thunder House, Dad's going to call that the Frozen Thunder House. Nora says, they're frozen in. They can't get a cell phone reception. Barb says, Hank, they have to warn Phoebe she's in danger. Hank says, steal him back, everyone. He may not have his powers, but he does have his athletic prowess and amazing physique. Then Hank charges only to get running to the door, saying he's neither athletic or amazing. Barb says they could use the thunder single to melt their way out. Hank says he wishes she could have said that before she made him look like a fool in front of their kids. Hank says, okay, this is gonna take a while. Let's go try out every light in the house. But he says, Hank and Bob are thinking, but they're not thinking like a mastermind. 3 words: couch, fire, Nora. Nora finally tells Billy, she got it now, and finally tells Billy that she switched the aptitude test. He's not really a hero mastermind. But she knew how that test meant to him, so she switched their test so he would make Billy says his scores were low. You were trying to go by your own name, and everything you wrote was in triangle, Billy. Of course you got low scores. You dumb guy. Yeah, you dumb guy. Of course you got terrible scores. Yeah, then you get all the questions right, bro. But that means he'll never be a hero, a superhero. Nor says, thanks to Max, I don't think any of them will be. Meanwhile, Clouseau vomits out Dark Mayhem's collar. I don't know what it's called. The Dark Mayhem signal. Then he calls Dark Mayhem. Dark Mayhem asks where Max is, and why he hasn't called. Clouseau tells Dark Mayhem how Max stole Hank Barb's power and is on his way to steal Phoebe. Dark Mayhem says, that means Thunderman and Electric will be sitting ducks by the time he arrives. Clouseau says, wait, he's coming. Dark Mayhem's coming to Hiddenville? And Dark Mayhem says, yes. Their address is all over the news. His address is all over the news. Once Max and him crush the Thunderman, they will make all of Hiddenville their evil headquarters. Klaus says he loves it, and now let's talk about him. He's getting a masseuse, a personal assistant, a tiny car, and Dark Mayhem says, oops, going through a tunnel, gotta go. And Dark Mayhem says, ends the call. Dark Mayhem says Klaus will be the first one he disposes of. But Klaus hears this because, of course, Dark Mayhem didn't end the call. So he says, is this thing on? Klaus says, yep. So Dark Mayhem says, go into another tunnel and ends the call. Meanwhile, at prom, Max shows up and says, time to say goodbye to your Thunder girl. But of course, he's confronted by Allison. Max says, Allison, she looks great. And Allison asks who her prom date is. Allison says his name is Richard, but he says his real name is Aaron. He's her date. Since Max ditched her. Max says he didn't ditch her. Something came up. It's complicated. Allison says, really? So it's complicated that he ditched his girlfriend on prom night, show up in rags, and then won't actually have a villain uniform, Allison. And won't tell her why. Okay, let's make things less complicated. They're breaking up. Let's go, Tim. Come on, Tim. Yeah, literally, she's so mad at Max, you can't call his name Aaron. First Richard, now Tim. Max says, wait, Allison. Meanwhile, Phoebe is dancing with her single ladies while making them not see Link. While talking to Link, Phoebe is dancing... Not see Link. While talking to Link, Phoebe says to Link, I thought you were holding their spot to the picture. Link says... For the pictures, Link says, yeah, he was in the line, but the line was moving, and he ended up taking a picture with Phoebe's geometry teacher. Is she alright? She's kind of acting weird. Phoebe says, what, her? Link says, next she's going to do that whole thing where she laughs on every word. Phoebe says, she doesn't do that. Then Maddie says, Phoebe, what is Link doing here? Phoebe pretends to be, of course, tries to save face by pretending to be surprised that Link's shown up. And Cherry asks Link how Hong Kong is, and Link says it's great. He got a poodle, he taught him how to sit, and Cherry says that's so cute, and says Phoebe's a backstabber. And how could Phoebe break their prom pact? Come on. And the ladies angry dance away. And the ladies angry dance away. Phoebe says, then Bradford shows up, who hasn't appeared in the show since episode 16. Who hasn't appeared in this season since episode 16, and obviously, as the GOAT this Bradford is, he shows up and is obviously hilarious. Can't believe he hasn't shown up in episode 17 since episode 16 of this season. Still can't believe it. Still shocked. Bradford says, what? Shut up. No way. Phoebe says, so when Link showed up from Hong Kong, she couldn't bring herself to tell him. She's so sorry. She promised she'll never keep anything from them ever again. Then, of course, Bradford reveals Phoebe's secret identity as Thunder Girl to the entire school prom, and Phoebe says, starting now. Meanwhile, Mrs. Wong is taking a news crew to the Thunder House. But that's when Doc Mayhem shows up, and Phoebe, and this whole joke about and we also learned in this episode that her name is Olympia Wong. Good day, miss. Yeah, I did miss something. The fact that at villain headquarters, Dark Mayhem wonders where Max is. He gives him his assignment yesterday. He drew himself if we know where Thunder Phoebe lived. That's when his henchman turns on this news to tell him where the Mrs. Wong is telling everyone the Thunderman location, so Dark Mayhem decides to get in his copter and fly to Hiddenville. Forgot that. Now I got to the... I can't believe I forgot that. Can't believe I started the second paragraph and totally forgot that first paragraph. Okay, then Dark Mayhem. This is where Dark Mayhem shows up. That's where they were talking earlier, about Dark Mayhem being in Hiddenville, and here he is. So, for some reason, Mrs. Wong totally confuses the dude for Jimmy Fallon. Well, doesn't confuse him for Jimmy Fallon. She has this obsession with Jimmy Fallon. Like, bro, Jimmy Fallon would ever want to meet Mrs. Wong. I don't think she can handle Mrs. Wong. Yeah, so then Dark Mayhem blasts the bush, scaring Mrs. Wong away, and Mrs. Wong says, "Save me, Jimmy Fallon!" And then all the news people scare away too. Then he uses his laser eye to open the door. Then he shows up and Barb says, "What is that?" And he says, "It's Dark Mayhem, ready to destroy you." So they can leave, and with nowhere to run, Colosso helps because since Dark Mayhem was going to kill Colosso, I guess Colosso was like he has no help. He has no choice but to help his sworn enemies, the Thundermen. He helps them blast out of there, and they lead to the Thunderman. Dark Mayhem bursts the door open. So Dark Mayhem and the villains realize the Thundermen are gone, and they decide to go to the prom too, their second prom. Meanwhile, at the prom, Phoebe tells us, "Hey guys, there's a lot of crazy rumors on the internet saying, okay, she's not Thunder Girl, and she definitely doesn't have superpowers." But that's when Max shows up and say, "I'm taking your powers, Thunder Girl." Say goodbye to your powers, Thunder Girl. Link says, "Hey Max, what are you doing?" And Max says, "Hey Link, how's Hong Kong?" And Link says, "It's okay, I got a pool, psych," and freezes Link solid and throws him away until the ending of the episode where they remember him, and then he doesn't appear again after this. So, but anyway, Max says, "No one cares. I cared about Link's poodle, Max. I cared." Then he freezes him and throws him away somewhere. We don't see it. Phoebe and Max use telekinesis to fight over the orb. Phoebe says Max isn't going to win this battle. Max says, "This isn't a battle, Phoebe. It's a war." Roxy says, "All this time Phoebe was Thunder Girl?" And then there's this whole joke where Cherry and Roxy and Maddie actually go out, say they had a crush, that Roxy has a crush on Gideon, Maddie on Wolfgang, and Cherry on Oyster, and I guess they go out with them. We know that Cherry and Oyster actually do become a thing later on, but we don't know about the other two, as Maxie and Roxy never appear again after this episode. Yeah, they're gone. They're gone. Them and Link are gone from the show. Yeah. Roxy said, "All this time Phoebe was Thunder Girl?" And Cherry says, "Yeah, she knew like a year ago." Oyster says, "Dude, they're in the presence of Thunder Girl the entire time. I know." And Alice says Max has superpowers. Bradford says Max has superpowers and Max is in a band. Man, Bradford's life sucks. Phoebe says, Max, give it up. Give it up, Max. He's not going to break your concentration. And Max says, nothing's going to lose his concentration. Then Hank and the family show up, causing them to say Hank, and then they lose their conversation, causing the orb to fall in the punch bowl. Max says, a little soggy, but still evil. They're about to lose, I guess, Hiddenville's about to lose its superhero. Bob says, Max, stop. Give them back their powers. Dark Mayhem is on his way to destroy them all. Dark Mayhem says, I'm right here. And actually says, I'm here, everybody. And then they get into a huge fight. Phoebe throws a big disc ball at him. Dark Mayhem's like, ha, that's nothing. Watch this. And blasts it. And yeah, this finale is pretty crazy. Last season's finale was the introduction of Chloe. This season's finale, they're fighting the big bad of the season. This is crazy. Dark Mayhem says, I finally meet Thunder Girl. Now, Max, take Phoebe's powers and he can finally be one. And Phoebe says, Max, please. She knows he hates her, but he can't let Dark Mayhem destroy Hiddenville. Dark Mayhem's like, oh, Thunder Girl, I'm not going to destroy Hiddenville. I'm going to enslave it and have everyone build my new empire. And Phoebe's like, bro, is this really what you want, Max? Is this what we want, Max? Wants to lose everything? His friends, his family, his Allison? Dark Mayhem says, what are you waiting for, Max? He's close to having it all. Max says he does have it all. And returns his family's powers. Finally redeeming himself after 3 seasons of being a villain. Yeah, Max finally just chooses his family over the villain and returns their powers. But of course, in classic hijinks, they have the wrong power. Barb has Billy's powers. Hank has Barb's powers. Chloe has Hank's powers. Billy has Nora's powers, and Nora has Chloe's powers. Billy again is dumb, so he tries to laser Nora into returning her powers, and Nora's like, bro, that's not how it works. Phoebe is like, and Chloe says, Thunder Baby, away! And that's basically her superhero alias. Hey, Max Phoebe's like, what is happening? And Max is like, Phoebe, I think when the orb short circuited, it created like a whole thing where now when the orb short circuited, the punch must have short circuited the orb. Dark Mayhem says they're confused of having the wrong powers. Get them. And then we have a huge fight, which I can't describe. It's like blast, 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 dodge, dodge, dodge. Max, you chose the wrong side. Max should have said, no, I chose the right side. He doesn't say that, but blast, blast, blast. It's kind of like I can't exactly explain it because it's kind of just like the very princess has Nora and Billy on the run. Nora's like, Billy, do something. But Billy's like, he's not Billy. He's just a scared little boy. But eventually, they're able to beat the villains. Hank uses electricity to beat the snake guy, and even fires electricity from his butt, which was like not cool. Then Barb's able to speed around strong door, and then punches him. Then he attacks Hank, but they help. Then Billy's able. Nora very Princess, which is a terrible name, has Nora captured until Billy's able to laser her, which allows them to trap her in a box. Now it's finally up for the final villain, Dark Mayhem. Nora says she doesn't care if Billy's a hero or a mastermind. Billy's still a hero. So they get the attendees out of harm's way. Max is still looking for the orb during the fight, and he gets blasted towards Allison's direction. They make up. Max is like, hey, is it weird that Allison's now dating him as a superhero? And Allison kisses him to just shut him up. Then Max finds the orb, but before they can use it on Dark Mayhem throws them away. Actually, Phoebe levitates Dark Mayhem, and Dark Mayhem throws them away. Dark Mayhem gets the orb, saying Max couldn't take Phoebe's power, but he will. But then the best character on the show, Chloe, uses Hank's powers to knock a statue on Dark Mayhem. You go, Chloe. You are the GOAT character. So then Max takes Dark Mayhem's powers, finally redeeming himself again after 3 seasons, and Phoebe decides to take the orb. Bradford tries to use Max and Phoebe as scapegoats by being like, bro, yeah, they call literally this whole joke where Barb and Hank joke about sending Max into jail for helping Dark Mayhem, even though Max is now redeemed, and then they go off to tell the Hero League everything. Also, they, of course, take credit, even though they literally did nothing. Take credit for all of what just happened. And Bradford tries to be like, yo, I will help you. If you guys grant me these things, I will help you graduate. He wants to fly, but of course, before he can say what he wants, the second thing he wants, Max freezes him, saying he's always wanted to do that. Then, seeing him unfrozen makes Phoebe think of something she's forgotten. Link. So she unfreezes him, and yeah. She unfreezes him, and they all take their prom photos together. And we say goodbye to Maddie, Roxy, and Link forever. Back at home, Max is finally, after the last time Max got a superhero cape, this time he's actually earned it. Instead of faking a save, this time he's actually a good guy, so he's earns his cape. They're technically Max's inventions, but because since Max is not a villain anymore, he doesn't need these. But Max is like, oh yeah, he can still use a helium pain blaster as he uses on Colosso. So Max gets to keep his inventions, to use them for good. Phoebe's like, Barb's like, now we can finally get back to normal, but supervillain Kickbutt's like Barb, the whole world knows your secret identity, and they're like, what? That's not a big deal, as we see a bunch of people outside their door. Then they're like, that's a big deal, because it's gonna be a big deal. Then Chloe puts on some shades that she got out of nowhere and says, the Thundermans are famous, baby, as we end the episode with a cool shot to the sky with a big T saying, as the adventure will continue. And that's where we end season 3 of the Thundermans. Wow, was this season good. Wow, was this season good. We end the season with Max turning over a new leaf and finally being a good guy. Now he has joined his family on the side of good instead of fighting for the villain's evil. So, yeah. And as I always do, I always say what are my favorite episodes and what are my least favorite episodes. And my favorite episode of the season has to go to episode 24, Back to School. I liked that one. That was a really good episode. And I liked that also Leonard was amazing. But my least favorite episode, you know, Doggy Day After School is the worst episode of this entire series. Oh boy, and I thought Afraid of the Park was bad. I actually ended up liking that one. This episode sucks. It's unfunny. Dogging is terrible, and it's unfunny. Just taking a comedy actress like Nicole Sullivan and making her unfunny. Her whole thing was dog jokes. How would you think that would be a funny thing? So yeah, we're going on to the final season of the Thundermans. What are we going to get into? What characters are we going to meet? What breakups are going to happen? Actually, we know. We know that Max and Allison break up because Ryan Newman and Jack Griffo broke up in real life, so they wrote her character off the show by texting Max a breakup. Like, I know Ryan Newman and Jack Griffo broke up in real life, but the way they handle her ex is kind of just like, oh, Chloe makes a joke about Allison and Max, and then Max gets a text saying that Allison's breaking up with him because she found that nature is her love for nature is that her true soulmate is the earth. That is such a not very good way to end a character's love arc. And of course, Max never finds love. He never dates anyone else. They kind of set this up, I think, between this and a new Green Teens leader who kind of resembles Allison, but that never goes anywhere, and I don't think we ever see that girl again. So, yeah, Allison only has, I think, has 2 appearances in the season. I think she's only in, her last appearance is, I think she's only in Thunderman's Banished and Date Emergency, and that's it? I don't know. I guess I'm about to go into season 4 and see how many appearances Allison has until 2021 Jump Street, which is a reference to 21 Jump Street. But, yeah. Just saying is that, wow, this season was really good. It only had one bad episode, and obviously I loved Back to School just because of how great they made Leonard as an antagonist. And yeah, so next is season 4, the final season. Again, what things are we going to get into? Chloe is now added to the main cast. Actually, she's not added to the main cast. She's added to the after credit scene as starring now. Before she was a guest star, but now she's a full character. I wonder what she's now added to the starring role after the credits. So I wonder, and the credits are now longer as the episodes now take place the scene happens longer before the credits. A scene is now longer in length before the credit sequence. So yeah. What will happen in season 4? I wonder. But anyway, this was my review of season 3's finale and season 3 overall. Season 3 was a really good season. I wish that weird that Sarah didn't appear in this season at all. I know she's in next season. I know she's in I know she's in Date Emergency in season 4. But yeah, where they kind of resolve the her and Max creepy love triangle arc where she kind of gets with Gideon. But then that kind of plot there is kind of just ditched in the Thunderman's Returns movie where they say they broke up off screen. But I'm excited for season 4. I'm excited for the Thunderman's Returns movie. But first, we have to get to this 32 episode season of the Thundermans. But that's it for this video, and I'll see you next time for season 4 of the Thundermans Thunderman's Banished. Thunderman's Banished, Part 1 and 2. How will Thundermans deal with this new stardom now that they're famous? How will Chloe deal with being now upgraded to main character now? How will Max deal with now that he's a good guy? How will Max deal with the ramifications of becoming a superhero? Find out on my review series of the Thundermans, the final season. See ya next time.